VGK signs forward Victor Olofsson, formerly of the Buffalo Sabres, to a one-year deal. Can the 6-year NHL veteran make an impact, and where will he slot in? We'll get to that when we return right here on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights.
You're Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, hi again, everyone. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. Find us wherever you get your podcast. Please make sure to head to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel and subscribe there. We are brought to you today by Gametime. Download the Gametime app today, and you could save $20 off of your first purchase. Another Swede.
It got moved. It wasn't in the same place it's normally been. It got moved. We'll leave Gametime up there for a second.
Yeah, just leave it up there. That's cool. Okay, another Swede and another number 71. It makes so much sense that we call this the IKEA line. So we've got Olofsson. He'll be lined up perhaps next to William Karlsson on opening day on the third line, or it's the reunion line. So in Buffalo, the line consisted of Olofsson, Jack Eichel, and let's get maybe some shenanigans and bring Sam Reinhart here. That's a heck of a line, but let's talk about that acquisition yesterday.
So Olofsson, this is a target that I put out there like literally a month ago. I forgot when I was doing a little victory lap yesterday, but it seemed like a good lottery ticket. History with Jack Eichel. You've already mentioned that Olofsson and Eichel have been on the same line together. Here's what you got. You got a 28-year-old whose birthday is actually coming up, Tony. I know we love doing birthdays on this show, July 18th. So it's coming up.
The 18th.
Currently 28 years old, so let's put that in our calendars.
Okay.
So at the time, you have a 27-year-old in the 22-23 season, 28 goals, 12 assists. But you have at the time a 27-year-old who had accomplished 20 goals or greater 3 times in his career. So you have someone who could possibly be right at the tip of their prime. There was obviously a major falling off, 75 games in 22-23, 40 points, 28 goals, 51 games, 23-24, 7 goals, 8 assists. So the pace, assists were on the mark, goals definitely were not, but Buffalo's been a weird team, and obviously there was a lot of injury issues as he only played 51 games.
A lot of healthy scratches this past season.
It was healthy scratches? It wasn't injuries?
Yes. Yeah, okay. A lot of healthy scratches, always in the doghouse. They buried him on the 4th line, and they tried
to like a Golden Knight already.
He's the perfect Golden Knight here. Save a rap sheet. Just kidding. That was a bad one. But no, he could be pretty good. The rookie that they just drafted, dude. So no, I think it could be pretty good here to have his career resurrected in Las Vegas. Because, again, he is a guy that still has it in him. They tried to get rid of him at the trade deadline, but his salary was too high. He was on a 2-year, $4.75 million contract. So that's why they couldn't get rid of him. They couldn't unload him. No one wanted to carry the rest of that contract. Then a free agent, and he said right before the end of the season, there's no way I'm coming back to Buffalo.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's situations are always very fluid in the NHL, and you do see situations where someone has an issue with the team and they move on and either gets better or it doesn't get better. I know character. Okay, I saw your text, Tony. I know that character, the Golden Knights have done a good job at surrounding players, especially surrounding players with pasts that maybe aren't perfect. We'll start with Jack Eichel. Jack Eichel had many character questions coming to Vegas, including everyone inside of Vegas. Just go back on your timelines about 4 years when all that went down, or 3 years, whenever it was, and take a look. A lot of questions about Eichel, and obviously the Golden Knights have made some interesting character moves. Second time Connolly's name is going to be mentioned on the show already. And then in addition, now you have the free agents leaving and stuff like that. So point being is if Olofsson does have some issues, whether he's a hothead, whether he's getting pissed off over being a scratch, weird stuff like that, whatever it may be, he should be okay in the Golden Knights locker room. Having that history with Eichel definitely helps as well.
I am sure that Jack Eichel went to bat for him, right? Because of the
I would
familiarity.
think so. I mean, that's what I wrote about in my article. Just basically that there's history. There's history.
It's like the Pietrangelo connections right here on VGK as well. And just that they tried to bring in more players from St. Louis, after Barbashev and all that. And you hope that he goes back to the form of 2022-23 when he had the 28 goals. Is he worth 1.075 on a 1-year flyer? I think so too.
Definitely. No,
where will he fit in better though, on the third line, or do you think he's that winger on the top line with Eichel and Barbashev?
So Olofsson slots in as a left winger, number one. So you wonder if this is a spot where Chandler Stevenson is gone. So that means Mark Stone's situation now changes. Stevenson was Stone's center. End of story. So now this is when some pieces start getting moved around. Eichel's obviously your top line center. Would a line of Eichel, Stone, and Olofsson work? That's obviously a big question coming into camp. And then your second line, you're going to have Hurdle and Barbashev. And then that right wing, that's where you start talking about Brisson, Dorofeev, Holtz, and just trying to see what players all kind of fall into place. And I mean, it's been a rough couple of days in VGK land. We've certainly had our perspectives and such, and a lot of the things we've been concerned about have been validated over the last 48 hours. But getting past all of that right now, this is going to be a fun training camp. Obviously, we're 2 months plus away from that, but there's so many questions coming out of camp last year. Cassidy made the comment, I think, in the opening presser, they're going to try and keep the Lions the way they ended the Stanley Cup run, and he made good on that until the injuries happened. This year, Olofsson could be anywhere from a top first liner to a healthy scratch in game one, as the same can be said about players like Holtz and Dorofeev and Brisson. So the camp, there's going to be a lot of camp competition. I mean, last year, Tony, the big camp competition was Max Comtois going to force his way into the Golden Knight lineup?
Yeah, man. Comtois.
That was the story.
One of the all-time VGKers too. Maybe he'll be in the Hall of Fame.
He's right up there with Shipachyov.
Oh, geez. And I just remember when we're talking about Victor Olofsson, mostly I recall his rookie season. He was an all-rookie team selection back then. And then I looked up like what the scouting report was like when he first came into the league. And I don't know how much is still applicable because I haven't watched him like every day, but a good shot and a good skater. At least, even on bad ice, we'll have a guy that can actually skate through it. That'd be kind of cool. But
round 7 pick. What a story. 181 overall.
The next Chandler Stevenson.
Yeah, maybe VGK will waiver him and he'll resurrect his career somewhere else throughout the season.
So he's going to be 29. So I say probably an 8-year deal is coming if he scores like 25 or more goals this upcoming
VGK
season.
Doesn't do 8-year deals, Tony.
No, this Buffalo team is in disarray again. I mean, Jeff Skinner, right, just got sent. And Gergensons is gone. They just had, I think, a bunch of guys that pretty much in free agency are gone as well. Now they have another rebuild on their hands.
The parallels to Buffalo and Calgary are very odd. You look at the players that the Flames traded or moved in the last basically 2.5 seasons, going back to Matt Tkachuk and then Tanev and Elias Lindholm, Jake Markstrom. I'm sure I'm forgetting even more than that. And then now you look at
Did you say
the player. What's that?
Did you say Tkachuk?
Yeah, I started with Tkachuk.
Okay.
And then you look at the players that Buffalo has had. You start with Eichel and now Skinner. Olofsson doesn't meet that, but Reinhart, O'Reilly, and the list goes on and on and on. And you just wonder how these teams can't get their you-know-what together. And, but that's the gain, right? That's the gain for the Golden Knights in getting Noah Hannafin, another player I didn't mention from that the Flames had. So their loss is our gain, and we'll see how it shakes out. But, closing in Olofsson, VGK has nothing to lose. It's $1 million and change. They got the room there. If he puts up 15 goals and 18 assists, that's money well. If he puts up 10 goals and 15 assists and he's a good warm body that's healthy out there, it's a good contract. If he gets anywhere into the 15 to 18 goal range, even better. And if he gets north of 20 goals, then that's a great signing by McCrimmon. You have to give him a lot of credit for the players he's looking at in him and Alexander Holtz as well.
Is this a depth piece or is he a starter? You got to ask that question.
Oh, I think he's in the
he's an
lineup.
everyday
Health
player.
pending.
Yeah, I think it's an everyday player. And again, I like that, he's a pushback kind of a guy. And if he's not happy, you're going to know it. It'll be interesting with him versus Bruce Cassidy on the daily. But again, you have the leadership of Jack Eichel there in the clubhouse. I know people didn't believe it, probably still don't believe that Eichel is a leader. And I think he can help out Olofsson's career here in Vegas. And I think it's a good find. He's one of those guys, a la Chandler Stevenson, a fourth liner who came in here and made the magic happen. I think he's a good piece. I'll be honest with you.
Who lasts longer in Vegas, Olofsson or Cassidy?
Oh,
it's a good line.
That's a good line. Well, he's going to come back and ask for, if he has a good season, he'll come back and ask for 4 and term, right? I mean, he was making 2.4 there.
Oh, this is a bridge deal. This is definitely the time. He's going to be shooting for the stars.
It's going to hurt the chemistry, man. It's going to hurt the chemistry. Just a bridge deal. Okay, coming up next, Jonathan Marchessault's farewell message to Las Vegas, and Logan Thompson gets a really nice ovation at last night's Las Vegas Aces game. We'll talk about all that when we return right here on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights. I want to tell you about Gametime. Download the Gametime app today. Use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL, and you will get $20 off of your first purchase. Terms do apply. And looking there on the Gametime app last night, if you are a big Blink 182 fan, then you can find some last-minute tickets for tonight at the T-Mobile Arena. And thank you, Travis Barker, for hitting me in the head with a drumstick that one time. I didn't forget about it at Hayes Nightclub. That was so much fun. Intentionally, he threw it right at my head. There's easy to find all sorts of tickets there at Gametime. You could find and buy Major League Baseball tickets, too. Every kind of event imaginable, both here in Las Vegas and anywhere around this country. Priority last-minute deals. You save up to 60% off of buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. I really do like the all-in pricing. That's where I go, and that's maybe a little bit of a tip, so you know exactly how much that ticket is going to cost with the fees and such. Lowest price guarantee or Gametime will also credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets today. Download the Gametime app, create the account, use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL, $20 off of your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account, use the redeem code LOCKEDONNHL, and you'll get $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Back on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights, Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. Find us wherever you get your podcast for sure. Don't forget Fridays are WTF with the Friday. Saturdays, sometimes Chris and Chris Jr. show, the YouTube exclusive. It's so exclusive that sometimes they outrun the exclusivity. I mean, let's face it here.
The build-up is huge.
So the Travis Barker story. So I'm friends with Mixmaster Mike of the Beastie Boys. They did this DJ drummer experience, right, over at Hayes Nightclub back in the day at Aria. I went upstairs. I talked to the fellows right before they went on stage. Stage was up higher. It's just like a ledge basically there that they had. And so they're there. They do the whole thing. And at the end of the set, dude, Travis Barker rifles. He rifled the drumstick. Not only hit me in my head.
Yes.
My glasses popped off.
Awesome.
Worst nightmare club experience ever. And my lens popped out in the club. in the dark. And so we're scrambling. I had to get the security guy. We're scrambling there at the table, crawling around, and I finally found the lens. And then, of course, afterwards, we were just laughing. It was pretty
You should have
funny.
had
They
Travis
laughed.
sign the lens. That would have been a great story.
They laughed about it. They thought it was off, but it wasn't like, okay, we're just gonna like lob the drumstick out into the crowd. He just rifled it right at my head. Good aim. He's got a pretty good arm, man.
Yeah,
So,
Travis
in any
Barker's
event,
got a pretty good arm. I watched I was at a festival show, we're going back. Blink-182 and Foo Fighters were playing, and they were playing earlier in the day too in some arena
that's
set,
such a
which was
good bill.
weird.
That's such a good bill.
It's a great. Weezer was there, and it was amazing. Korn, I think, was one of the bigger bands at the end of the night too. Now I think about it.
Back in the day,
But
they were pretty big. Yeah.
Travis, they're still big. Travis Barker and Taylor Hawkins, they played like back-to-back sets, one Foo Fighters, then Blink, or whichever way it was. And both of them watched each other on the stage and literally sat within like 2 feet of them, just concentrating on their technique and their style. And we were sitting behind the stage really close, and it was a really cool experience just watching them learn from each other.
In any event, you can go to Gametime. They've got some good last-minute deals for Blink-182. We'll bring it full circle here. So Jonathan Marchessault, what a run we had. Thank the trainers. He started with the trainers, which I thought was really thoughtful. The coaches, the management, Mr. Bill Foley and his family. Thanked all the fans. Well done. The fans, I feel, are what the players, I think, remember the most in their experience here in Las Vegas, despite Kelly McCrimmon knowing more about the team than the fans do. I'm never going to stop taking shots with that one. That's as bad as made men.
It was a terrible flex.
It was a bad flex. But let's talk about Marchessault. So again, his impact. I thought he took the high road. It was very classy. I know people are still, I talked to a number of fans and some of the media members at the Aces game last night, and the fans are pretty stewed. They're still pretty fired up. And the Olofsson counter was not even a decent flex, right? You know, with Marchessault gone.
It's not the deflector the Golden Knights needed.
Yeah. And the fans think that it's a depth piece and he's not a superstar. So that's what they're looking for here.
Well, that's all the Golden Knights can do right now is depth pieces and hope the lottery ticket, produces a winner. I mean, listen, what's not to say about Marchessault? From the media side, he was great with all of us as far as interviews and thoughtful answers, whether it was a tough loss and him just kind of giving you the pulse of the team, or whether it's a fun victory. And Marchessault and Logan Thompson. So I remember the game, Logan Thompson got an assist. I don't know if it was on the power play or what it was, but LT read the situation, fired the puck down, and the Golden Knights got a quick rush goal. And I was interviewing Logan, and he made a comment that, this is something we do kind of work on in practice, that stretch pass when it's there. So I went to Marchessault. I think Marchessault scored the goal. There was another assist in the middle there, I believe. I could be wrong. But anyway, I say to Marchessault, I'm like, hey, this is something that Logan said you guys work on in practice. Is that accurate? And I said it loud enough. Logan's walking. He just kind of gives a 180, and he just stares Marchessault dead in the eye. And Marchessault's like, I don't think I've ever seen him do that in his life. So, point being, on the media side, Marchessault is absolutely wonderful. On the fan side, I shared the story a couple days ago when Marchessault went into full dad mode when he was talking to my kids on Messenger.
Cool.
When I was a lowly old fan of the team, and I still am, but it's a little different now. And then just all the other stories about fans and interactions, and whether he's at City National or down in Henderson watching his kids play and taking time still to talk to the fans and stuff. And I mean, I don't know if there's a more approachable person on this team that's not just going to sign an autograph and, kind of shoo you off. He's going to give you the time of day. And I mean, there's a reason this fan base is completely up in arms over Marchessault leaving, and it's rightfully so for a lot of reasons, but just sticking with the emotional side right now, because that's what this moment's about. It makes sense, and he's going to be missed. And now Eichel really has a lot more pressure on him to continue to rise, to be that positive influence. Not that Eichel's not a positive influence, but this is a time when, a lot of eyes are going to go to Eichel to be what Riley Smith was, to be what Jonathan Marchessault was. And Eichel's checking those boxes. Let's be clear about this. Eichel is checking those boxes, but he needs to keep on going.
Same level, would you say, as when Marc-Andre Fleury left, because of that affinity index, if you will?
a lot of people I talked to leading up to this felt that before it happened that this would be worse. You had Robin Leonard at the time, and again, Robin Leonard at that moment was a phenomenal goalie for the team. His metrics were just as good as Marc-Andre Fleury, and like the Barbashev Riley Smith situation, I think Robin Leonard was a lot younger. I can double check if I'm wrong. Someone will call me out, and that's fine. But I think a lot of people understood that trade made sense at the time, where there's a lot of emotions about how close the Golden Knights and Marchessault were to a deal, and the fact that McCrimmon picked this moment to say, nope, that 5th year, it's not going to happen. The metrics don't suggest we should do this.
It didn't make sense. It just does not. It's still
no.
Forevermore. It won't make any sense there why they wouldn't just gift him that 5th year. And if he came in at 5.5, I think you get quite a bargain. You get a great community guy. And the comments that I'm just hearing from people that just adored him because of his impact on the local community and in youth hockey. It's terrific. It's great to see. And I don't know, man. Like some of the fans are really turned off here.
It's the character stuff, Tony. The character is coming into question of this team. And Bill Foley's a big character guy. So you have to wonder what the situation is with Foley, McPhee, and McCrimmon right now. Is starting with the question, Ken was awesome during the draft from Sinbin, simply asking McCrimmon, hey, did Foley sign off on this? Is Foley cool with Connolly? Because he's got a little bit of a history here. And, and McCrimmon tried to brush him off. So Ken followed up and hit him again, which was wonderful. And McCrimmon kind of flexing again. I don't know. I don't need to get permission. I forgot the exact way he put it, but it was pretty, maybe he said, I'm not answering that. However he said it, it just was very McCrimmon-esque as far as, stop bothering me. And then you look at Marchessault leaving. You look at every free agent leaving. And outside of Marchessault, I get it. McCrimmon was spot on that the team wanted, that all these players did want to basically cash in, given the fact that they are champions and they were able to get paid. I agree with that comment.
But I would love to see how bad those offers were for the free agents. One of the other free agents
in either 2.9 or 3.9 2 years.
Why the
diss? Some if you want.
Why the diss on William Carrier? The fans are up in arms about this. No, I don't think he's staying so long. No future endeavors posts.
I don't think he's officially signed yet. So I was a little quick to jump. Someone tagged me, and I retweeted whatever. And I think that the Golden Knights are waiting to do the thank you for your services and endeavors and whatever term you want to use until they officially sign their contracts elsewhere. And there's a difference between, William Carrier is signing, 6 times 2, however you say it. He's signing for 6 years of $2 million AAV in Carolina, but until he physically signs the contract, maybe there's a physical, it's got to be done. Maybe we'll care. I don't know. Whatever needs to happen. I think they're waiting until it's official, and that's fine. Whatever. I mean, I don't know.
So that Marchessault, I figured it out finally. The going away graphic was cut into 4 pieces.
Yeah.
And that signified just the 4-year max contract that they would have signed him to, I think. But they did have Marchessault some great photos there.
Tony comments.
Great photos on the ice, hoisting the cup. Him with Riley Smith, with Eichel, Carlson, Stone. It's pretty cool when he looks back, at those posts and those photos. There's absolutely some great memories right there.
Dude's gonna be on a tear next year. He's gonna be looking to.
Whoa! What's the over under on goals? I think if he gets like 25 and a hook, I think he's had a successful season there.
I was gonna say 28 and a hook because they got a lot of firepower down there. Health obviously could deter. He's been very healthy, but again, Father Time remains undefeated. So at some point, there's going to be a decline as far as output and health go. Right now, maybe now's not the time for him. Maybe he puts up another 40 goals, Tony. I mean, who knows? Who knows?
Logan
28 and a hook is my official number. 28 and a hook.
Logan Thompson's farewell tour last night at T-Mobile Arena. Now, he's always supported all the local teams, which is really terrific. It's really cool. He was at the Aces game, and a loud ovation for Logan Thompson when they introduced him, sitting a couple of seats down from Marshawn Lynch and Vivica A. Fox. I mean, he's a celeb here. Terrific. Just the support of the city again for a player that they appreciated here in Las Vegas.
Logan is as good as they get right now, and a lot's being learned about him after the fact. Not that I don't think there was a lot of questions leading up to him, but you do look at his impact on the community, and he's extremely supportive of youth hockey and doing things to motivate youth hockey teams around the valley. I'll leave it at that. But just amazing how the fans are taking to him, and the fans are rallying behind him. So Marchessault, everyone's a little pissed off that this happened. Logan Thompson, I think a lot of the fans right now are hoping, for lack of better terms, he just goes to Washington and crushes it and really makes the Golden Knights regret their handling of his situation. And it's unfortunate that he and Sean Burke couldn't wind up coming eye to eye on a lot of things, because that's why Logan Thompson is not here in Vegas. And I think it's safe to say that a lot of people felt Logan should have been the future goaltender. What a great story. I mean, the Wheat Kings the Wheat Kings ties to basically having tryouts to kind of work his way up. He gets the deal in the AHL. He's proved it every step of the way. He's checked every single box. And what did that get him? It got him a one-way ticket to Washington.
Yeah. And the thing that I heard from Steve Karp last night was telling me that all the media people went up to that table at the Sphere when he was signing autographs post-trade, which again just shows the character, I think, of a Logan Thompson still showing up there. I think it would have been hard for me to do, although he's pretty happy probably that he's getting
Logan's good people. Logan's good people.
He's getting a great opportunity, right? But he did thank the media people for their coverage, which I thought was really classy. And the other thing too,
he can finally talk again. He can finally talk again. Free Logan.
With VGK now, are you patting yourself on the back again?
I had an itch. No, I had an itch. I'm not doing that.
You're doing this every day. Come on, man.
No, I'm not taking that bait.
So if you're VGK, you do need to put out a lot of fires here, and you do need to get players again back out into the community like they were earlier on. And so Zach Whitecloud actually will represent the VGK in the Summerlin parade tomorrow. Got to add that, but you got to get these players entrenched in the local community. They have to start making appearances again. They do.
The PR team has their hands full right now, and it's an towering inferno, and you got a garden hose to put it out with. Like, it ain't happening anytime soon. And honestly, the best thing that can happen is if the season started tomorrow, you could start seeing all these guys in practice. There could be, a lot of feel-good stories coming out. And, hey, Alex Holtz looked good. He's got a good shot. And, now we start learning more about these players once they're wearing the Golden Knights uniform and, handling themselves on the ice. And obviously once they start playing preseason games and such. So, that's what needs to happen right now. And another 2.5 months until we're even basically to that point when the camp starts. It's going to be a long time. It's going to be a long time.
Crisis PR in full mode. Coming up next, what is VGK's
tables and a microphone?
Need? What's their biggest need right now, and what player could be next to go for VGK? We'll talk about that when we return on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights. Gosh, you're so long-winded today, bro. We're here already deep into this show.
This is how every show's been.
I know. We have nothing to talk about anymore, right? And we go way over our marks. We appreciate everyone tuning in, especially our everydayers. Thank you so much. We see you out there because our numbers are just flying off the hook here. And no, it's terrific that everyone's engaged. And welcome to the new people that are tuning into this unethical podcast. At times, it's not unethical. We're just kidding. No, they were comparing us to some of the other Locked On network shows. And we're different, man. They're not like us, as Kendrick Lamar might have said there. Of course, make sure that you download. You don't know who Kendrick Lamar is.
I'm so not cool, dude. I'm like,
right.
Can you reference a Pearl Jam song or something instead next time?
I got hit in the head with a drumstick from Travis Barker. Is that good enough for you?
Should have hit you harder.
Dude, that knocked me pretty senseless. Thanks again for making us your first listen every day. Subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. It appears that VGK is filling some roster spots. Correct me if I'm wrong here. Again, I keep saying depth pieces because that's what it is. And a lot of unknowns with this organization. It remains to be seen if all these pieces are going to fit, how they will fit. So many question marks, more so than it was a season ago. And I still say they need a few things here. They need a marquee name. I think they do. A marquee name who's going to contribute at that. They need to be more physical. And we saw this in the cup final, and again, copycat league, but they're going to have to be harder on the pucks. They're going to have to be a more physical team because that's where this league is trending right now. So to me, I think you need some beef in there. I'm not saying goons, but I'm saying they need some beef. They need good skaters. They need some speed, which is in our parking lot, which we need to talk about. What else do you think? They need scores. They need a scorer, for crying out loud.
I was perusing free agents to see what's still out there right now. And yes, I'm with you on everything you said, but just a small target that could be another depth piece. And,
Not
the
another
Golden Knights,
depth piece. There's
no,
too many.
but
Oh my gosh! If there's too many
unless they're
depth
going to make a
pieces,
trade,
then we could blame chemistry again.
unless a trade is going to be made, it's the only choice. So I'll break this up into two parts quickly here. Daniel Sprong is out there. You're talking someone who had a 2 million AAV last year, 39 goals, 50 assists in 100 and called 140 games in the last 2 seasons, spread out with Seattle and Detroit's. The Golden Knights are in a spot where they're going to need one of these depth pieces to put up fringe marquee level numbers. They're going to need someone like a Daniel Sprong or an Olofsson or a Holtz or a Dorofeev who's a little more polished, or a Brisson to all of a sudden put up 30 goals. And maybe if one can put up 30 of that group and one could put up 25 goals, all the more better. Now, to answer the question, what's their biggest need and how do they get there? Well, you trade from strength. The defensive core is their strength. 2 players who are up for contracts that could bring a return are Braden McNabb and Shea Theodore. Shea Theodore, I think, brings a much better return than Braden McNabb. And Shea Theodore's injury issues, I think that could be a win-win. What are they going to get possibly? You need a winger, probably a right winger, but you need a winger that you can feel confident is going to have a 27 to 32 goal type of season. Will the Golden Knights pull the trigger on a deal like that? I don't know. I don't think that player's out there in free agency. Tarasenko kind of scratches the surface, but Tarasenko's metric or his AAV is not going to be what the Golden Knights can afford. Golden Knights got about 1 point. Cap friendly still up. They've got 2 more days for that. At July 5th, I think, is the doomsday. $1.3 million for the Golden Knights right now, but it looks like Brisson and Holtz are entering another year where they are waivers exempt, so they can go up and down. So basically, call it $900,000 for each of them. The Golden Knights would have $2.2 million in cap space, and injuries are going to happen. Starting Brisson in the AHL, if that was what the need is, or even Holtz, so be it. That's fine. You have that depth because the opportunities are going to present themselves. Insert Mark Stone LTIR joke here. But again, depth pieces might be the only thing the Golden Knights can do right now, unless McCrimmon is willing to make a noteworthy move. Is Mitch Marner on the table still? I don't think so. And I don't know how they even get there. They don't have a first rounder till 2027. They got all their second rounders for the next 3 years, and they got an extra. They actually have 5 third-round picks over the next 3 seasons. So we'll see if there's enough there on the table. But will the Golden Knights even find a trade partner right now if they wanted to find a marquee name? I don't think the answer is yes. I don't.
No, absolutely not. I think they're starting to get blank there, and I think the teams are doing things for the block, as we said with Nashville, the other day.
Who wants to trade a marquee player right now on July the 3rd? Like this is not trade season right now, unless it's really advantageous for the other side. Are the Golden Knights going to make a bad trade right now? I don't think so. Maybe.
Well, the GM McCrimmon said the other day that Caden Korzak, I listened very carefully to his words. He said that he's an everyday player, and that concerns me if I am Shea Theodore. I think Theodore might be, as you mentioned. And we've been talking about it, starting with the Marner rumors. I think that he could be next on the block. I really
28-year-old. Listen, a 28-year-old who has the upside of a point per game defenseman, who has the upside of a dark horse Norris candidate consideration, health pending. Those players don't come around every day, starting with on the VGK side. If Shea Theodore is healthy, if Shea Theodore is healthy and his girl stays off social media, he's great. He's absolutely great. But unfortunately, neither one of those are the case.
I want to read her farewell post. That's the one thing someday. I really do want to read that. There was a rumor circulating. I'll say this
Oh boy.
rumor that Theodore had another off-season surgery. So I
Is
don't
that
know
10 now?
about that. I don't know. Seriously, though, but that could be another factor here.
I mean, rather now than later, but yeah.
Yeah. We appreciate everyone tuning in. Thank you so much. Of course, tonight you'll be out at Night of Fire.
Yeah, we are going to go. We were up and back, and we're going to go. Me and Chris are going.
Last minute. I might be a last minute addition there. That's a long drive. And then, of course, tomorrow we're taking the day off. Perhaps.
I'm working early in the morning tomorrow. I'm breaking. Yeah, no.
Game time decision. No, it's done.
If there's some crazy thing that happens tonight,
illegal fireworks tonight from VGK, then we'll be on. We appreciate everyone tuning in. Of course, subscribe to our Lockdown Golden Knights YouTube channel when we do, in fact, indeed, confirmed return on Friday. It's WTF. So line up all your comments there. Saturday, potentially, the Chris and Chris Jr. show. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you on Friday. Maybe tomorrow, but definitely on Friday, right here on Lockdown Golden Knights. And please take care.